You're 6 months too late. I knew before you did.
Evelyn Harper, 68, stepped out of a taxi. Calm, unhurried. Her good coat on, the one she saved for funerals and victories. Her children stood frozen in the driveway. Mark's hands gripped a folder. Legal papers. His knuckles were white. Not from anger, from fear. The kind of fear that comes when a plan falls apart. Lisa clutched nursing home brochures. Her smile was gone. Behind it, something darker. Desperation. Debt. Secrets she thought her mother didn't know. But Evelyn knew everything. The moving truck. The sold sign. The strangers carrying boxes through her front door. She walked past her children. Paused. Turned. The nursing home deposit you saved for me? I spent it on a private investigator instead? Mark's face went pale. Lisa's folder slipped from her hands. From next door, old Hank Ruiz watched through his window. He didn't wave. Just wrote something in his notebook. Like he'd been expecting this. Evelyn touched the brass key in her pocket. 32 years of memories. Gone. But what had her children been hiding? And how much did her quiet neighbor already know? Before we begin, if you could tap subscribe and like, it would mean so much to me. And if you don't mind, please leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from. May health and happiness find their way to you right where you are. All right then, let's begin today's story. Chapter 2. The war begins. The driveway became a courtroom. Mark found his voice first. But it cracked. This is fraud. You can't just sell our family home. Evelyn studied her son. Really studied him. The trembling hands. The sweat on his forehead. The desperation in his eyes. This wasn't greed. This was terror. Our home? She tilted her head. The deed has one name. Mine. Lisa knelt on the pavement. She gathered the scattered brochures with shaking hands. Her mascara was already smudging. Mom, please. Lisa's voice was soft. Practiced. But something underneath was breaking. We talked about this. Remember? The facility has a garden. You'll love it there. We never talked about anything. Evelyn's tone stayed calm. You talked. I listened. And then I hired someone to find out why. Silence. A woman stepped out of the house. Tanya Brooks, 45, still wearing scrubs under her jacket. She held a box of kitchen supplies. Is there a problem here? These are my children. Evelyn smiled. They came to visit. 6 months too late. This is our mother's house. Mark stepped toward Tanya. His voice rose. Whatever she signed isn't valid. She has memory issues. Dementia. She doesn't know what she's doing. Tanya set down her box. Her expression hardened. I'm a nursing assistant. 15 years in geriatric care. She looked at Evelyn. Then at Mark. Your mother negotiated this sale better than most lawyers I've met. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Tanya pulled out her phone. Should I call the police? Or would you prefer to leave? Mark's jaw tightened. Lisa grabbed his arm. Let's go. We'll fix this through proper channels. They walked back to their cars. Mark slammed his door so hard the window rattled. But Lisa didn't drive away. She sat in her sedan, staring at the house. Then she made a phone call. Evelyn watched her daughter's lips move. Fast, angry, scared. Who was Lisa calling, and what was she so afraid of? Mrs. Harper? Evelyn turned. Hank Ruiz stood at the edge of his lawn, notebook still in hand. I got everything. He tapped the pages. Timestamps. License plates. What they said. Word for word. Thank you, Hank. Don't thank me yet. His eyes were serious. This is just the beginning. They'll come back with lawyers. Maybe worse. I know. You ready for that? Evelyn looked at her old house one last time. The movers carried out Harold's recliner. 30 years of memories. Walking out the door. But memories weren't chains. I've been ready for 6 months. She took out her phone. Dialed a number. Grace? It's done. Phase 1 complete. A calm voice answered. Grace Chen, 53, estate lawyer. The woman who had helped Evelyn design this entire counterattack. Any surprises? Mark is scared. Not just greedy, scared. Evelyn paused. Something else is going on with him. The investigator's report mentioned gambling debts. Significant ones. How significant? 200,000. Maybe more. He borrowed from people who don't negotiate. Evelyn closed her eyes. Her son. Her firstborn. The boy who used to bring her dandelions. Now he owed money to people who broke legs. And Lisa? Divorce settlement. She owes her ex-husband half of assets she doesn't have. She's been hiding it for 2 years. 2 children. 2 secrets. 2 reasons to want their mother's house. Not love. Not care. Desperation. What's our next move? Evelyn asked. We wait. Let them make the next mistake. Grace paused. And they will. Desperate people always do. Evelyn hung up. Across the street, Lisa's car finally pulled away. But as it passed, Lisa looked directly at her mother. Not with anger, with something worse. Recognition. She knows, Evelyn thought. She knows I know. The game had changed, and the real war was just beginning. Chapter 3. The Weight of Secrets. 3 months earlier, Evelyn sat alone in her kitchen. The house was too quiet, too empty. Harold's chair sat untouched in the corner. 3 years since he died. The leather still smelled like him. Her phone buzzed. A text from Mark. Mom, we need to talk about the house. Call me. Another from Lisa. Checking in. How are you feeling? Any memory issues lately? Memory issues. That phrase again. Lisa had used it 4 times this month. Evelyn didn't respond. Instead, she opened her laptop. She had learned to use it after Harold died. YouTube tutorials, online banking, email, small victories against loneliness. Now she used it for something else. Research. Guardianship laws in Ohio. Elder abuse statistics. How children steal from parents legally. The articles made her sick. Competent adults. Locked away in facilities. Their homes sold. Their savings drained. All because someone convinced a judge they couldn't be trusted. It happened every day. It was about to happen to her. She knew because of the phone call 2 weeks ago. Late night. She couldn't sleep. Went downstairs for water. Heard her phone buzzing on the counter. Mark's number. But he wasn't calling her. He had pocket-dialed. An accident. She listened for 3 minutes. The house is worth at least $400. Maybe more if we wait. We can't wait. Lisa's voice. Tight. Panicked. Derek's lawyer is threatening to go public. I need my share now. And I need mine yesterday. These people don't care about payment plans. So we move faster. The guardianship papers are ready. Dr. Morrison said he'd sign off if we... Evelyn had hung up. Stood in her dark kitchen. Shaking. Her children. Her babies. Planning to lock her away. Steal her home. Split the money. She didn't sleep that night. Or the next. On the 3rd night, she called Hank. I need help. Her voice broke. I think my children are trying to take everything from me. Silence on the other end. Then, come over. I'll make coffee. Hank's house smelled like pipe tobacco and old books. He listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. You're not crazy. His voice was gentle. And you're not alone. How do you know? Because I've seen this before. Hank stood up, walked to his bookshelf, pulled out a thick folder. 40 years ago, I worked for the state. Bureau of Criminal Investigation. Fraud Division. You were a cop? Investigator. Different thing. He set the folder on the table. I specialized in elder exploitation. Kids stealing from parents. Caregivers draining accounts. Legal guardians who weren't legal. Evelyn stared at the folder. My wife had dementia. Hank's voice softened. Real dementia. The kind where she forgot my name. Forgot our children. Forgot everything. I'm sorry. Don't be. She had a good death. Peaceful. He paused. But I learned something. The system doesn't protect old people. It manages them. And sometimes the people doing the managing are wolves. My children aren't wolves. No. Hank met her eyes. They're desperate. Which is worse. Wolves act on instinct. Desperate people convince themselves they're doing the right thing. He pushed the folder toward her. This is everything I know about guardianship fraud. The tactics, the warning signs, the legal loopholes. Evelyn opened it. Pages of notes, case studies, names and dates. Why do you have all this? Because after my wife died, I made a promise. Hank's voice hardened. No one else would go through what she almost went through. What I almost let happen. What do you mean? Hank was quiet for a long moment. My son tried to put her in a facility. Said it was for her own good. Said I couldn't handle it. His jaw tightened. He was right. I couldn't handle it. But that didn't mean she deserved to die in a place that smelled like bleach and regret. What happened? I fought. Got lawyers, got doctors. Proved he was after the house, not her welfare. Hank smiled. A cold smile. He doesn't speak to me anymore. That's terrible. That's the truth. Hank leaned forward. Family isn't blood, Evelyn. Family is choice. And sometimes the choice is to protect yourself from the people who are supposed to love you. Evelyn looked at the folder, at the years of research, at the pain behind every page. Will you help me? That's why I showed you this. Hank stood up. But I'm just an old man with a notebook. You need professionals. Like who? A lawyer. A good one. Someone who knows estate planning and elder law. He wrote a name on a piece of paper. Grace Chen. She helped me save my wife. She can help you save yourself. Evelyn took the paper. Grace Chen. The woman who would help her burn everything down and rebuild something better from the ashes. Chapter 4. The Evidence File. Present day. 2 days after the sale, Evelyn sat in Grace Chen's office. The desk was covered with folders, each one labeled with a date. 6 months of surveillance. Grace spread them out. Phone records, bank statements, emails, and the investigator's final report. Evelyn picked up the thickest folder. Her hands trembled. I almost don't want to read it. You don't have to. I can summarize. No. Evelyn opened it. I need to know everything. Mark Harper, age 42. Failed business restaurant franchise. Closed after 18 months. Debt $340,000. Bank loans. Credit cards. And $180,000 to Vincent Callahan. Evelyn stopped reading. Who is Vincent Callahan? Loan shark. Operates out of Columbus. Grace's voice was flat. He gives money to people banks won't touch. At 40% interest. 40%? Per month. Evelyn felt sick. Mark borrowed from him 8 months ago. He's missed 3 payments. Callahan's people have visited his office twice. Visited? Broken windows. Slashed tires. A dead cat on his doorstep. Grace paused. The next visit won't be symbolic. Evelyn closed her eyes. Her son. Running from men who killed cats as warnings. No wonder he was terrified. Keep reading. Grace's voice was gentle. Lisa's section is next. Lisa Harper. Age 39. Divorce finalized 2 years ago. Settlement required equal division of assets. Problem: Lisa had hidden assets. A savings account. An inheritance from Harold. Money she claimed didn't exist. Her ex-husband, Derek, had found out. He's threatening to sue. Grace explained. Fraud. Perjury. Maybe criminal charges. Lisa's lawyer says she needs $200,000 to settle quietly. $200,000? Her share of your house. Almost exactly. Evelyn stared at the report. Her daughter. Hiding money from a divorce court. Lying under oath. Now facing prison. They're not evil. Evelyn's voice cracked. They're drowning. Yes, Grace nodded. But drowning people will pull you under to save themselves. That's why we had to move first. What about the guardianship? Who is Dr. Morrison? Grace pulled out another folder. Gerald Morrison, psychiatrist. Semi-retired. He signed off on 19 guardianship cases in the past 5 years. 19? All of them contested. All of them won by the petitioners. Grace's expression darkened. He gets $5,000 per evaluation. Always finds what the family wants him to find. That's fraud. That's business. Grace leaned back. Morrison, Mercer, your children. They're all part of the same machine. Families who want money. Doctors who rubber stamp evaluations. Lawyers who push paper through courts. And Mercer? David Mercer. The lawyer your children hired. Grace pulled out a photo. Slick suit. Confident smile. He's handled 32 guardianship cases. 128. His clients have seized over $12 million in assets. How is that legal? Because the victims can't fight back. By the time they realize what's happening, they've already been declared incompetent. Grace met Evelyn's eyes. That's why we had to strike first, before they could silence you. Evelyn looked at the evidence spread across the desk. Her children, her home, her life, all of it reduced to folders and photographs. What do we do now? Now we wait. Grace gathered the files. They'll file the guardianship petition anyway, even without the house. They're too desperate to stop. And when they do, Grace smiled. That sharp warrior smile. We show the judge exactly what they are. That night, Evelyn sat in her temporary apartment. Small, efficient, hers. Hank knocked at 7. Brought dinner. Takeout from the diner. They ate in silence for a while. How are you holding up? He finally asked. I read the investigator's report. Ah. Hank set down his fork. Bad? Mark owes money to a loan shark. Lisa committed perjury in her divorce. Evelyn's voice was hollow. My children are criminals. Your children are desperate. Hank corrected. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. He met her eyes. Criminals choose. Desperate people react. Your kids didn't wake up one day and decide to steal from you. They got in too deep, made bad choices, covered those choices with worse ones. That doesn't make it better. No, but it makes it human. Evelyn thought about that. Human. Her children were human. Flawed, frightened, failing, just like her. I still have to stop them. Yes, even if it destroys them. Hank was quiet for a long moment. When I testified against my son, I thought it would destroy him. His voice was soft. It didn't. He moved to Oregon, started a business, got married, has 2 kids now. Do you ever talk to him? No. Hank looked away. Some wounds don't heal. But he's alive. He's free. He got a chance to become someone better. He turned back to Evelyn. That's what you're giving your children. Not punishment. A chance to hit bottom and climb back up. Evelyn didn't know if she believed him, but she wanted to. Chapter 5. The Trap Sets. 1 week later, Grace's conference room, 3 lawyers, 2 paralegals. Evelyn. They filed this morning. Grace slid a document across the table. Emergency petition for guardianship. They're claiming you're a danger to yourself. Evelyn picked up the paper. Read the words. Severe cognitive decline. Inability to manage personal and financial affairs. History of erratic behavior and poor judgment. That's a lie. Of course it is. Grace nodded. But Morrison signed the psychiatric evaluation, and Mercer filed it with the court. By law, the judge has to hold a hearing. When? 2 weeks. April 15th. 2 weeks. 14 days to prove she wasn't crazy. What's our strategy? Grace stood, walked to a whiteboard covered with notes and diagrams. 3 phases. First, we discredit Morrison. His evaluation is the foundation of their case. Without it, they have nothing. How? I've subpoenaed his records from the last 5 years. Every guardianship case he's touched. We'll show the judge a pattern. Same diagnosis, same language, same result. Will that work? It should. But we need more. Grace pointed to the second column. Phase 2. We present your evidence. The phone recording. The investigator's report. Mark's gambling debts. Lisa's divorce fraud. Won't that destroy them? It will expose them. Grace's voice softened. There's a difference. The judge won't send them to prison for filing a petition. But she will see the truth. And that truth will end their case. Evelyn nodded slowly. What's phase 3? Grace hesitated. Phase 3 is insurance, in case phases 1 and 2 fail. Fail how? Mercer is good. Very good. He's won cases with less evidence than this. Grace met her eyes. If the judge rules against us, we appeal. But appeals take months, maybe years. And during that time, you could be placed under temporary guardianship. Your children would control your finances, your housing, your medical care. The words hit Evelyn like a physical blow. That's not going to happen. I agree. But we have to prepare for every possibility. Grace returned to the table. Which is why I need you to do something difficult. What? Record a video. Today. Here in this office. Grace's voice was steady. You'll state your name, the date, your wishes, your mental state, everything. Why? Because if they manage to silence you later, this video speaks for you. It becomes evidence that Evelyn Harper on this day was competent, aware, fighting. Evelyn thought about all the people in Grace's old cases, the ones who couldn't fight, whose voices were stolen before they could use them. Let's do it. The video took 2 hours. Evelyn sat in a leather chair, American flag behind her, camera in front. She stated her name, her age, her address. She described her marriage, her career, her children. She explained what she had discovered. The phone call, the planning, the guardianship papers. She looked directly into the camera. I am Evelyn Harper. I am 68 years old. I am not confused. I am not incompetent. I am not a danger to myself. She took a breath. My children want my house, my money, my freedom. I will not give it to them. Not because I don't love them, but because I do. Her voice cracked. Love doesn't mean surrender. It doesn't mean letting people destroy you because they share your blood. It means holding boundaries, even when it hurts. She wiped her eyes. If you're watching this, something went wrong. The system failed. The judge believed lies instead of truth. But I want you to know I fought. Until my last breath, I fought. She paused. And I would do it again. Grace stopped the recording. Silence in the room. That was perfect. Grace's voice was soft. That was exactly what we needed. Evelyn stood up. Her legs were shaking. Now what? Now we wait for April 15th. Grace handed her a tissue. And pray we don't have to use this video. Chapter 6. The cracks appear. 10 days before the hearing. Evelyn received a phone call. Unknown number. Late night. Mrs. Harper? A man's voice. Rough. Unfamiliar. Who is this? A friend of your son's. Pause. More like a business associate. Evelyn's blood went cold. What do you want? Your boy owes Mr. Callahan a lot of money. Money he doesn't have. The voice was calm. Almost pleasant. We hear there's a house involved. A house that just got sold. The house is gone. But the money isn't. The voice hardened. See, Mrs. Harper, we don't care about family drama. Courts, lawyers, none of that matters to us. What matters is payment. I don't have... Your son promised us that house. Now it's gone. Someone has to pay for that. The line went dead. Evelyn sat in the darkness, heart pounding. Mark hadn't just planned to steal her house. He had already promised it to loan sharks. The next morning, she told Hank. His face darkened. Callahan's people don't make empty threats. He paced his living room. If Mark promised them the house, they'll try to collect. One way or another. What does that mean? It means you're a target now. You have the money they think they're owed. The money is in a trust. I can't even access it. They don't know that, or they don't care. Hank stopped pacing. We need to increase security. Cameras aren't enough anymore. What are you suggesting? I have friends, former colleagues, people who handle situations like this. Hank, I can't afford. You can't afford not to. His voice was sharp. These aren't your children playing lawyer games. These are professionals. They hurt people for a living. Evelyn felt the walls closing in. She had planned for the legal battle. The courtroom, the evidence and arguments. She hadn't planned for this. What should I do? First, we document everything. That phone call. The threat. Times and dates. Hank grabbed his notebook. Then we call the police. Make a report. Create a paper trail. Will the police help? Probably not. Callahan has connections, but it establishes a record. He met her eyes. And it gives us leverage. Leverage for what? Hank smiled. A cold smile. Leverage for when we destroy your children's case, and their credibility with it. That afternoon, Evelyn made another phone call. To Mark. He answered on the 5th ring. Mom. His voice was wary. Why are you calling? I got a phone call last night. From Vincent Callahan's people. Silence. Long silence. Mom, I can explain. No. Evelyn's voice was ice. You don't get to explain. You promised them my house, my home, the place your father and I built together. I was desperate. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You got in over your head, made bad choices, and instead of asking for help, you decided to steal from your mother. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. Evelyn felt tears running down her face. I would have helped you, Mark. If you had asked, if you had been honest, I would have given you everything. Mom, but you didn't ask. You schemed. You lied. You hired lawyers and doctors to lock me away like I was nothing. Mark was crying now. She could hear it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what else to do. That's the problem. Evelyn wiped her eyes. You never do. She hung up, sat in the silence. Her son was crying, apologizing. begging. But sorry wasn't enough. Not anymore. Chapter 7. What Mother Always Knew. 5 days before the hearing, Grace called with news. "We have a problem." Evelyn's stomach dropped. "What kind of problem?" "Morrison, the psychiatrist. He's refusing to testify." "Can he do that?" "He cited health reasons. A heart condition. Suddenly too sick to appear in court." Grace's voice was bitter. Very convenient timing. "So what happens to their case?" Mercer filed a motion to admit Morrison's written evaluation without cross-examination. The judge is considering it. "That's not fair." "Fair has nothing to do with guardianship hearings." Grace paused. "If the judge admits that evaluation, we lose our best chance to discredit it." Evelyn sat down. Her legs felt weak. "What do we do?" "I'm filing an objection, demanding Morrison appear in person or have his evaluation thrown out entirely." "But there's no guarantee." "When will we know?" "Tomorrow. Maybe the day after." Another night of waiting. Another night of uncertainty. "Grace." Evelyn's voice was small. "What if we lose?" Silence on the other end. "Then we appeal. We fight. We keep fighting until..." "Until what? Until I'm dead? Until there's nothing left to fight for?" "Evelyn, I'm tired." Her voice cracked. "I've been fighting for 6 months. Planning, preparing. And now it might all fall apart because one corrupt doctor won't show up?" "I know. I know it's hard." "Hard?" Evelyn laughed. A bitter sound. "My children hate me. Loan sharks are threatening me. And I might lose everything because the system protects liars." Grace was quiet for a long moment. "You're right. The system is broken. It protects people with power and money. It grinds down people who fight back." Evelyn waited. "But you know what? You're still standing. After 6 months. After everything. You're still standing." Grace's voice strengthened. "That means something. That matters." "Does it?" "Yes." Grace's voice was firm. "Because every time someone like you fights back, the system gets a little weaker. The predators get a little more exposed. The next victim has a better chance." Evelyn thought about the video, the evidence, the years of preparation. "I didn't do this for other victims." "I know. You did it for yourself." Grace paused. "But that's how change happens. One person at a time." Refusing to be silent, Evelyn closed her eyes. One person at a time. Maybe that was enough. 2 days later, the judge ruled. Morrison's evaluation was inadmissible. No cross-examination, no testimony. Grace called with the news. Her voice was triumphant. The judge was furious. She said Morrison's sudden illness was suspiciously convenient. She's referring him to the medical board. What does this mean for the case? It means Mercer has no foundation, no psychiatric evaluation, just accusations and speculation. So we win? Not yet, but we're close. Grace paused. There's one more thing. Mercer requested a meeting. Off the record. A meeting? Why? I think he wants to negotiate. Maybe settle before the hearing. What would we settle? That's what we're going to find out. The meeting was at a neutral location. A conference room in a downtown hotel. Mercer was already there when Evelyn and Grace arrived. He looked different, tired. The confident smile was gone. Thank you for coming. He gestured to the chairs. I'll get straight to the point. Please do. Grace sat down. Evelyn followed. The Morrison ruling hurt us. Badly. Mercer folded his hands. Without his evaluation, our case is weak. We both know that. Then why are we here? Because my clients want to settle. Mercer looked at Evelyn. They want to drop the guardianship petition. Walk away. In exchange for certain considerations. What kind of considerations? Financial. A one-time payment. To cover their debts and allow them to start over. Evelyn almost laughed. You're asking me to pay them? After everything they've done? I'm asking you to consider the alternative. Mercer's voice was steady. A hearing. Public testimony. Your children's secrets exposed. Their lives destroyed. They tried to destroy my life. I know. Mercer leaned back. And I'm not proud of my role in that. Evelyn studied him. The tired eyes. The slumped shoulders. Why did you take this case? Mercer was quiet for a moment. 20 years ago, my mother had a stroke. Couldn't speak. Couldn't walk. My brother wanted to put her in a facility. I fought him. Spent everything I had on lawyers. What happened? I won. She stayed home, died in her own bed, surrounded by family. He paused. But the system I used to save her? I saw how easy it was to abuse. How many people were losing that same fight? So you became the abuser? I told myself I was helping families, managing difficult situations. Mercer shook his head. I was lying. To myself. To everyone. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired. His voice cracked. Tired of winning cases I should lose. Tired of helping people steal from their parents. Tired of being the villain in someone else's story. Grace looked at Evelyn, a question in her eyes. Do we believe him? Evelyn didn't know. But she knew one thing: she wasn't going to pay her children for trying to destroy her. No deal. She stood up. We'll see you in court. Mercer nodded slowly. I expected that. He stood too. For what it's worth, Mrs. Harper, I hope you win. He walked out. Evelyn watched him go. For the first time, she almost felt sorry for him. Almost? Chapter 8. The Truth They Couldn't Hide. April 15th. The courtroom was smaller than Evelyn expected. Wood panels, fluorescent lights, an American flag in the corner. Mark and Lisa sat at one table, Mercer beside them. Their faces were pale, controlled. Evelyn sat at the other table, Grace beside her, Hank in the gallery. Dr. Patel waiting to testify. Judge Catherine Morrison, no relation to the psychiatrist, presided. Silver hair, sharp eyes, 30 years on the bench. This is a guardianship hearing. Morrison's voice filled the room. The petitioners claim Mrs. Evelyn Harper lacks the capacity to manage her affairs. The respondent disagrees. She looked at Mercer. Counselor, your opening statement. Mercer stood slowly. He seemed older than a week ago. Your Honor, this case is about a family in crisis. My clients love their mother. They've watched her decline, seen her make troubling decisions. He paused. They're not here to punish her. They're here to protect her. He sat down. Grace stood. Your Honor, this case is about theft, not care. Her voice was clear. The petitioners don't want to protect their mother. They want her money, and they've spent 6 months trying to take it. She held up a folder. I have evidence, phone recordings, financial records, proof of gambling debts and divorce fraud. A pattern of deception designed to steal from a competent adult. Morrison's eyes narrowed. Those are serious accusations. They're provable accusations. Grace handed the folder to the bailiff. I request permission to enter this evidence. Objection. Mercer stood. Half-heartedly. This evidence is overruled. Morrison cut him off. I'll review everything. The next 3 hours were surgical. Dr. Patel testified first. She explained her examinations, her findings. Mrs. Harper shows no signs of cognitive impairment. Her memory is excellent. Her judgment is sound. Could stress cause the symptoms her children described? Stress can cause many things. Dr. Patel met the judge's eyes, but it doesn't cause children to file false guardianship petitions. Hank testified next. He explained his background, his surveillance, his recordings. I've investigated elder abuse for 40 years. His voice was steady. This case has every classic sign. Isolation, financial pressure, medical fraud. Medical fraud. Dr. Morrison, the psychiatrist who evaluated Mrs. Harper. Hank pulled out a document. He's been paid $5,000 per evaluation for 19 cases, all with the same diagnosis, all favoring the petitioners. The courtroom murmured. Morrison banged her gavel. Continue. Dr. Morrison has been referred to the medical board. His license is under review. Hank looked at Mark and Lisa. Your petitioners knew exactly what they were buying. Finally, Evelyn took the stand. Grace led her through the story. The phone call. The planning. The moment she realized her children wanted her gone. Why did you sell your home? Evelyn looked at the courtroom, at her children, at the judge. Because my husband and I built that home together. Every room held a memory. Every wall held a piece of our life. Her voice was steady. I refused to let it become a prize. Something my children could steal while I rotted in a facility. And the trust? To take away the temptation. Evelyn met Mark's eyes. My children don't love me. They love what I have. So I took it away. Took it away? Not to punish them. To free them. Her voice cracked. from pretending, from waiting for me to die, from becoming worse people than they already are. She looked at Lisa. I know about Derek, the divorce settlement, the money you hid. Lisa went white. I know about the loan shark, Mark. Vincent Callahan. The threats. Mark's head dropped. I know everything. Evelyn's tears fell freely now. And I still love you. Both of you. But love doesn't mean letting you destroy me. Love means stopping you before you destroy yourselves. The courtroom was silent. Morrison studied the evidence for a long moment. Then she spoke. We'll take a 30-minute recess. When we return, I'll deliver my ruling. The ruling took 10 minutes. The petition for guardianship is denied. Morrison's voice filled the courtroom. The evidence clearly shows that Mrs. Harper is competent. It also shows that this petition was filed in bad faith, for financial gain, through fraudulent means. She looked at Mark and Lisa. I'm referring this matter to the county prosecutor for investigation of elder abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. Mark made a sound. Small. Broken. Additionally, I'm imposing sanctions on Mr. Mercer and referring Dr. Morrison's conduct to the appropriate authorities. She stood. Court is adjourned. Evelyn sat at the table. Grace squeezed her hand. It was over, but Lisa was walking toward her. Fast. Desperate. Mom. Lisa's voice was raw. Mom, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Security stepped between them. Mom! Lisa was crying now. Ugly crying. I was scared, okay? I was broke and scared, and Derek was going to destroy me, and I didn't know what else to do. Evelyn stood up, looked at her daughter, the little girl who used to pick dandelions, the teenager who cried at graduation, the woman who had tried to lock her away. I know you were scared. Evelyn's voice was gentle. But fear doesn't excuse what you did. I can change. I can be better. I hope so. Evelyn stepped back. The trust has a provision. 5 years. Genuine care. No legal challenges. Then you can petition to be included. Lisa's eyes widened. 5 years. Prove you love me. Not my money. Me. Evelyn picked up her purse. That's your chance. She turned to Mark. He sat at the table, head in his hands, shoulders shaking. Mark. He looked up. Eyes red. Face wet. The loan shark calls will stop. Evelyn's voice was soft. I've arranged for your debt to be paid. Anonymously. Through the trust. Mark stared at her. Why? Because you're still my son. Because I don't want you dead in an alley. She paused. But this is the last time. No more rescues. No more excuses. You have to save yourself now. She walked toward the door. Stopped. Looked back at both of them. I gave you everything. My youth. My energy. My love, and you tried to take the one thing I had left, my freedom. Her voice hardened. I forgive you, but I will never forget. She walked out of the courtroom, into the sunlight, alone, but free. Chapter 9. After the storm. The investigation took 3 months. David Mercer lost his license. The state bar found him guilty of professional misconduct, facilitating elder abuse, filing fraudulent petitions. He didn't appeal. Dr. Morrison faced the medical board. They revoked his license permanently. Criminal charges were pending. Mark and Lisa were named as cooperating witnesses. They testified against Mercer, against Morrison, against everyone who had helped them. They're trying to save themselves, Grace explained over coffee. Cooperation might keep them out of prison. Evelyn nodded. She didn't know how to feel. Her children were criminals now, officially. Their names in court records. Their faces in local news, but they were alive, free, given a chance to start over. That was something. In June, Lisa called. I started therapy. Her voice was small, court-ordered at first, but I'm glad they made me. That's good. I'm learning things about myself, about why Lisa stopped, about why I became the person who could do what I did. Evelyn waited. It wasn't about the money. Not really. Lisa's voice cracked. I was jealous of you, of how strong you are, how you survived Dad's death while I was falling apart. You were falling apart? After the divorce. After everything. I felt like nothing. Lisa was crying now. And you were there, in that big house, with all those memories, living your life, while mine was destroyed. So you wanted to destroy mine. I wanted to stop feeling small. Lisa sobbed. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Evelyn closed her eyes. Her daughter, jealous, desperate, drowning, just like Mark. I forgive you. Lisa's crying intensified. But forgiveness isn't trust. You understand that? Yes. The 5 years still stand. Prove you've changed. Not with words, with actions. I will. I promise. Don't promise me. Evelyn's voice was firm. Promise yourself. She hung up, sat in her small apartment. The first step, small, uncertain, but a step. In August, she heard about Mark. Not from him. From Grace. He's in treatment. A rehabilitation program in Arizona. Grace set down her coffee. Gambling addiction. Paid for by an anonymous donor. The trust. Evelyn had added a provision. If either child sought genuine help, the trust would pay. How's he doing? Better. The therapists say he's engaged, honest, working through things. Will he call? I don't know. Grace met her eyes. Some wounds take longer than others. Evelyn nodded. Mark was always the proud one, the one who couldn't admit weakness. Maybe Arizona would change that. Maybe it wouldn't. Either way, she had given him the chance. What he did with it was up to him. In September, Mercer's trial ended. Evelyn testified on the second day, told her story, answered questions. The jury found him guilty on all counts. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowded around her. Mrs. Harper, how do you feel? Evelyn thought about all the people Mercer had hurt, all the families destroyed, all the elderly people locked away. I feel hopeful. She looked at the camera. That this will never happen to anyone else. She walked away. Hank was waiting by his truck. Need a ride? Please. They drove in silence. You did good, Hank finally said. I did what I had to. That's what good means. He smiled. Most people don't have the courage. Evelyn looked out the window. Trees, houses, lives continuing. What now? Hank asked. Now I live. She smiled. Whatever that looks like. Chapter 10. The Key. She gave away. October. The leaves were turning. Gold and red and orange. The kind of autumn that made Ohio worth the winters. Evelyn stood in front of her old house. Not her house anymore. Tanya's house. Tanya's family. She could hear children laughing inside. See new curtains in the windows. Smell something baking. Cinnamon. Apples. Home. The sold sign was gone, replaced by a jack-o'-lantern on the porch. Cheerful. Normal. Tanya came out the front door. Saw Evelyn. Smiled. I was wondering when you'd come back. Is this a bad time? Never. Tanya walked down the steps. Come in. I just made cider. The house was different. Same walls. Same floors. Different life. Children's drawings on the refrigerator. Family photos on the mantel. Toys scattered across Harold's hardwood floors. Evelyn touched the kitchen counter, the one Harold had built. He wasn't very good at carpentry. She smiled. But he wanted to try. This house has good bones. Tanya handed her a mug. You took care of it. We tried. They drank in silence. Can I tell you something? Tanya set down her mug. When I bought this house, I knew something was wrong. The speed. The way you looked when you signed. You could tell? I work with old people every day. I know fear, and I know courage. Tanya met her eyes. You had both. Evelyn didn't know what to say. My mother died in a nursing home. Tanya's voice softened. She didn't want to be there. But my brothers decided. They didn't ask. I'm sorry. 8 months. Staring at walls. Waiting for visitors who stopped coming. Tanya looked at the window. That's why I do what I do. That's why I bought this house. What do you mean? I wanted to build something. A place where families grow. Where old people are welcome. Where nobody gets forgotten. She stood up. Went to a drawer. Pulled out something small. I found this in the basement. A photograph. Harold and Evelyn. 30 years younger. Standing on this porch. Evelyn's hands trembled. I thought I lost this. It was hidden. With Christmas ornaments, Tanya smiled. Your husband was handsome. He was everything. They sat together for another hour, talking about nothing important. When Evelyn stood to leave, Tanya walked her to the door. Thank you. Evelyn paused on the porch. For taking care of this place. Thank you for trusting me with it. Evelyn reached into her pocket. The brass key, the red keychain. Harold's gift. I want you to have this. Tanya hesitated. That's your key? It was. Evelyn pressed it into her hand. Now it's yours. Are you sure? Evelyn looked at the house. The jack-o'-lantern. The children's laughter inside. My husband gave me this key 32 years ago. He said it meant the house was ours, that nobody could take it away. She smiled. He was wrong. Houses can be taken. But what they represent? The love, the memories, the life? She closed Tanya's fingers around the key. That stays forever. The senior community was quiet when she returned. Hank was on his porch. 2 cups of coffee. Steam rising. How was it? Perfect. She sat beside him. Exactly what I needed. They drank in silence, watched the sunset. A car pulled up. Unfamiliar. Out-of-state plates. Arizona. Evelyn's heart stopped. Mark stepped out. He looked different. Thinner. Older. But his eyes were clear. Clearer than she'd seen in years. He walked toward the porch. Stopped at the bottom of the steps. Mom. Evelyn couldn't speak. I'm not here to ask for anything. His voice was steady. Rehearsed. I just wanted you to know. I'm getting better. Really better. She found her voice. The program. 90 days sober. No gambling. No lies. He looked down. Well, trying not to lie. That's good. I know you probably don't want to see me. I didn't say that. Mark looked up. Surprised, I said I forgive you. Evelyn stood. I said I wouldn't forget. But I never said I didn't want to see my son. Tears ran down Mark's face. I'm sorry. For everything. For the lies. The lawyers. His voice broke. For becoming someone who could hurt you. I know. I don't expect you to trust me. Not now. Maybe not ever. Good. Evelyn walked down the steps. Trust is earned. Not given. She stood in front of him. Her firstborn. Her baby. The man who had tried to steal her life. But you're here. That's a start. She opened her arms. Mark fell into them, sobbing, shaking. They stood like that for a long time. Hank watched from the porch. Didn't say anything. Some moments didn't need words. Later that night, Evelyn sat in her apartment. Small, simple, hers. On the wall hung the photograph. Harold and Evelyn. Young and hopeful. She touched his face. I did it, she whispered. I saved myself. And maybe I saved them too. The phone buzzed. A text from Lisa. Maria Santos wants to meet you. The nursing student. She asked if you'd come to her graduation in May. Evelyn smiled. The scholarship fund. The first recipient. A young woman learning to care for old people. She typed back, I'd be honored. She set down the phone. Looked at the empty space where the brass key used to hang on her keychain. Gone now. Given away. But what it represented? Still hers. Always. She closed her eyes. For the first time in 6 months, maybe longer, Evelyn Harper felt whole. Not because she had won. Because she had chosen. Because she had fought. Because she had refused to disappear. And in the end, that was everything.